Growing up, I always heard it said that you cannot make a living as an artist. There's a stereotype that artists are starving, but in my story, that stereotype is false. Currently, I am a part-time balloon artist making $75,000 or more a year, only working weekends. And I don't say this to brag, but to show you that it is possible. And hopefully with my story, I can motivate you to pursue your own artistic endeavor. So I know I've also shared already about how I fell into balloon art, but this is a little bit of an updated video because now I've been able to do this full-time for a year and a half. I just want to share my experience for the past 14 years, how I came into balloon art, why I think it's still a profitable market. Let's get started. So my origin story has to go back roughly about 14 years ago. My dad, who is a clown for birthday parties, was in need of a balloon artist. And so my mom, during that time, was making balloons, realized that she was allergic to latex. So I was the oldest child, and here I come making balloon figures. So I started off learning how to make balloon flowers, puppies, hearts, swords, those basic figures that everybody starts off with. It really came down to the summers where my mom really moved us and pushed us to start making balloons and sell them at different restaurants. So I started going during the summers to visit different restaurants, would take a whole bag of balloons already pre-made from tutorials that I would find here on YouTube. That's how I started off, how I started learning how to interact with people, how I got out of my shell, because I used to be very shy. Those were the initial steps that I kind of came into. So it was almost like my family pushing me to do all of this. It wasn't really much of an interest, but later I came to find out how I could make this into a living. So with working with my parents, I started doing the restaurant work, and I fell into this really good restaurant that now I've been almost 11 to 12 years there. That was honestly the biggest blessing, falling into that restaurant, because it was honestly where I learned how to talk to people. It was where I learned to sell. It was just overall where I learned what business looks like, really. Specifically saw the potential of what I could do with balloon art, that I could potentially make it into a living for some time. I started going there throughout high school, throughout college, and I even paid off some of my college studies through this balloon art, right? So I started to see the potential that it had on what I could do on a weekend, especially here in San Antonio, where we have a lot of birthdays, events, fiesta. There was a potential of possibly doing events as well. And so I was doing work there at the restaurant. People started referring me and saying that they wanted to have me at their birthday party. And so that's how I started doing my own personal parties as well. So that's kind of where I started growing to, doing more of the birthday parties. If you're enjoying this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you could smash that like button down below. Somehow it really helps my channel. So when I started doing birthday parties, that is the next level of my balloon art journey, because then I started realizing, like, oh wow, so I can make a certain amount at the restaurant, but at a birthday party in an hour I can make $100. And that's roughly what I was charging during that time, until I started meeting the balloon art community here in San Antonio back in 2021, and they started telling me that they were charging more for the art. I would base my hour rate off of the type of art that I was able to create. Usually what I recommend artists is to kind of do a rough check on what people are charging in your area. That way you're not undervaluing your art. You're also not undervaluing other people's arts. So that's another helpful tip that I learned about charging. And so during that time I was charging $100 an hour, then later moved to $125, and then I started including other services of people I knew. I knew people could do face painting, so I would work almost like an agent and hire them on to do birthday parties with me. And so here I am, 18, 20, doing these gigs for birthday parties. After that, I would say the next step was doing my website, getting more official. I would say in 2020 was when I started making shirts, I started doing the logo. I just started to make things a little bit more formalized, so that way it would look professional as we're promoting ourselves. We were doing social media, we were getting parties, I was doing Facebook Marketplace, Instagram, whatever I could to get my balloons out there. And the algorithm does a pretty good job at pushing content to the right people, so hopefully it was reaching the right people. and somehow people were contacting me through Facebook, through Instagram, and through Marketplace. That's something that I still kept up with the addition of a website that I added to Google and the Google business account that I set up, which was free. I just put the location of my apartment and that's it. You know, people can look at my page online. I'll do a later video on all the advertisement and stuff like that I do for the business. But one of the things I wanted to focus here is when people start seeing that your work looks more professional, you have a better presentation, doesn't matter how good you are, the presentation in itself is what sells. When companies, when even the city is looking to do events, they'll look online, they will try to look at the most professional looking website. That's who they're going to reach out to for their entertainment. So that was probably the next level of parties and events, because now I could have 3 to 4 hour, 5 hour events for companies like HEB or Frostbank, where I could literally have several hours booked in my day with events. I knew I was gonna earn a certain amount already, when at the restaurant I didn't know if it was gonna go well or not, so it was a little bit more of a sure amount of money. For somebody who might do it as a side hustle, it's a really massive amount, sometimes even half of what you're already earning during the week. So that's another level of business that started creating more freedom in my schedule. And now that I've been able to do it full time, I was able to get out of my previous job that I was in and do this full time, which has given me a lot of freedom in the sense of having more time. It's honestly a blessing because I can work on a weekend 10 to 20 hours and make a week's worth of living. It's enough to live off of and have time for other projects, develop the business, advertise, spend time with families. And I would say from hearing different people, this is not the case for all of y'all or for everyone who lives in a different town, a different city. So the circumstances might be different. People might not even know what balloon art is. I'm not sure if it's mainstream already. Here, at least in town, there's a lot of different entertainers, so at least people know about balloon art, but there's not that much competition to where everybody doesn't have work. I really like that about this town in San Antonio. I'm sure there's been other YouTubers here in town that have actually made it a living as well. So that's kind of where I'm at right now in this point of my life. I come to realize that there's a lot of things that I would also like to teach. So that's why I started this YouTube channel and making these videos, because this is how we learn, this is how we grow. And I would really like to continue growing the community and show people that it is possible to live as a full-time balloon artist. It's very unconventional. The norm usually is go to school, graduate from college, and get a good job and stay there for a long time, which is, you know, pretty good as well. But now there's other possibilities with the internet. I would really like to see if this is also a possibility where doing classes here online would be a potential income stream as well. So I hope that you really enjoy this video. If you really found this valuable, please leave a thumbs up button down below so that way I know if you are getting some value out of this. Make sure to look at our other videos because I'm going to be sharing some really awesome hacks and tips on how to become a balloon artist and how to make your balloon art stand out. So until next time, we will see you soon. Take care.